People.
Hi there! Would you like to receive a gift? I'm a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Don't let it get away, don't make it get away, don't let it get away. Don't let it get away, don't make it fade away. I gave my love, you never come away. So long, girl, I was on the run. Girl, I won't let you be the number one. I can assure that the love is a thing. All you have to do is keep on talking to my soul. Don't let it get away, don't make it fade away. Don't let it go astray. Don't let it get away, don't make it fade away. I give my love, you never come away. Oh, yeah. So don't let it fade away, don't let it fade away, don't let it fade away. Don't let it fade away, don't let it fade away. I give my love, it will never come away. Don't let it fade away, don't let it fade away, don't let it go astray. Don't let it fade away, don't let it fade away. I get my love, it will never come away. So long, girl, I is all alone. Girl, I wanna let you be the number one. I can assure that you never be secure. All you have to do is be up to my door. So don't make it fade away, don't make it fade away, don't make it fade away. Oh, don't let it fade away, don't make it fade away. Ah, yeah. Ooh, oh, yeah.
To understand this, you have to go back to what young brother here referred to as the house Negro and the field Negro, back during slavery. There was two kinds of slaves. There was the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negro, they lived in the house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food when he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but still they lived near their master. And they loved their master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save their master's house quicker than the master would. The house Negro, if the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro said, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you can tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put the blaze out than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We sick. We sick. He identified himself with his master more than his master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, the house Negro would look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was that house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today because we still got some house niggers running around here. This modern house Negro loves his master. He wants to live near him. He'll pay 3 times as much as the house is worth just to live near his master. And then brag about, I'm the only Negro out here. I'm the only one on my job. I'm the only one in this school. You're nothing but a house Negro. And if someone come to you right now and say, let's separate, you say the same thing that the house Negro said on the plantation. What you mean separate? From America? This good white man? Where you gonna get a better job than you get here? I mean, this is what you say. I ain't left nothing in Africa. That's what you said. Well, you left your mind in Africa. On that same plantation, there was the field Negro. The field Negro, those were the masses. There was always more Negroes in the field than there was Negroes in the house. The Negro in the field caught hell. He ate leftovers. In the house, they ate high up on the hole. The Negro in the field didn't get nothing but what was left of the insides of the hole. They call them chitlins nowadays. In those days, they call them what they were, guts. That's what you were, a gut eater. And some of you all still gut eaters.
If you press go like this.
Yeah, I did that. I think when I hit the channel, I clicked it on, but I didn't hit I didn't hit save at the bottom. I think we about to go live. I think we about to. Just give me a.
Okay.
Okay, there it goes. Showing at the bottom part. You should see it.
Oh no. Yeah, you're live. You're live. Yeah,
Okay.
we're here, man.
All right, all right, let's hang up on the thing then. All right. I'm just trying to catch it on YouTube. All right, I think I am at D.
Okay.
Okay, there it was showing at the bottom part. You should see it.
Oh no. Yeah, you're live. You're live.
Okay, let me go to the live for a second. Okay, there we go. All right, let's hang up on the other thing. We good. Okay, here we go.
I have to check the volume. The volume good.
All right.
Cause I can't hear you too well.
I can hear you
Can you
excellent.
hear me properly?
Yeah, I can hear you. You clear. You good to go.
Okay, it's just I can't hear you too well. Okay, that's fine. I can hear you, but it's just a bit low. But that's fine. I'm just wondering if your audio.
Yep,
Yes. So, Sister Marsha, Boo, Unu, Annette, Noopooh, 9 branches. True light, true peace branches. Yes, one supreme being. Yes, absolute nature, man. Yes. Greetings, star.
Branches them in here. Okay.
Yeah, man, house.
All right, we finally got around the
So 90.
Yeah, because Branches them been say they wanted to see us come through. We just had a lot we was dealing with, so we in there like.
Yeah, we've been busy.
You see the name on the topic, right?
Well, this camera's showing too much, man. Yeah.
Yeah, mine says politics. That's the name of politics. Kamala's lost. Entertainer scared in World War III. So that's the topic on this one.
So the topic is, I heard Kamala Harris.
Yeah, it's about politics. Kamala's lost. Entertainer scared in World War III. So pretty much my other I had YouTube deleted it, like they deleted yours because of the fact that was coming out. When the Democrats been in power, they've been chipping at the freedom of speech and stuff like that, and they trying to turn anybody that's telling any type of truth into enemies of the government. And that's why Hillary Clinton had Julian Assange arrested for revealing those WikiLeaks documents that had how she deleted 33,000 emails and all that stuff like that, and had him taken out. And they tried to get Trump, and how she paid for that whole fake Russia hoax thing, and that came out to be false as well. But she's still walking around, and the ones who've been really doing the most is them. It ain't just all Democrats, but most, it's a lot of that comes from that side, because they have to play it opposite. Like they say, when we look back at what Socrates said about democracy in those videos we did,
yes,
I think that the republic has to keep the democracy from going buck wild and destroying things because of what democracy works. Because remember, democracy, they want everybody to have a vote, but when I did that video, the origin of democracy, like Socrates said, only people educated should be able to participate in voting, knowing what
I have a free afternoon and 1,000 things I
We're used to thinking very highly of democracy, and by extension of ancient Athens, the civilization that gave rise to it. The Parthenon has become almost a byword for democratic values, which is why so many leaders of democracies photographed there. It's therefore very striking to discover that one of ancient Greece's greatest events, philosophy, was highly suspicious of its other achievement, democracy. Founding father of Greek philosophy, Socrates, is portrayed in the dialogues of Plato as hugely pessimistic about the whole business of democracy. In Book 6 of the Republic, Plato describes Socrates falling into conversation with a character called Adimantus and trying to get him to see the flaws of democracy by comparing a society to a ship. If you were heading out on a journey by sea, asks Socrates, who would you ideally want deciding who was in charge of the vessel? Just anyone, or people educated in the rules and demands of seafaring? The latter, of course, says Adimantus. So why then, responds Socrates, do we keep thinking that any other person should be fit to judge who should be the ruler of a country? Socrates' point is that voting in an election is a skill, not a random intuition, and like any skill, it needs to be taught systematically to people. Letting a citizenry vote without an education is as irresponsible as putting them in charge of a trireme sailing to Samos in a storm. It was to have first-hand catastrophic experience of the foolishness of voters. In 399 BC, the philosopher was put on trial on trumped-up charges of corrupting the youth of Athens. A jury of 500 Athenians was invited to weigh up the case and decided by a narrow margin that the philosopher was guilty. He was put to death by hemlock in a process which is, for thinking people, every bit as tragic as Jesus' condemnation has been for Christians. Crucially, Socrates was not elitist in the normal sense. He didn't believe that a narrow few should only ever vote. He did, however, insist that those who had thought about issues rationally and deeply should be let near a vote. We have forgotten this distinction between an intellectual democracy and a democracy by birthright. We have given the vote to all without connecting it to wisdom. And Socrates knew exactly where that would lead, to a system the Greeks feared above all, demagoguery. And Athens had painful experience of demagogues. For example, the louche figure of Alcibiades, a rich, charismatic, smooth-talking, wealthy man who eroded basic freedoms and helped to push Athens to its disastrous military adventures in Sicily. Socrates knew how easily people seeking election could exploit our desire for easy answers. He asked us to imagine an election debate between two candidates, one who was like a doctor and the other who was like a sweet shop owner. The sweet shop owner would say of his rival, "Look, this person here has worked many evils on you. He hurts you, gives you bitter potions, and tells you not to eat and drink whatever you like. He'll never serve you feasts of many and varied pleasant things like I will." Socrates asks us to consider the audience's response. Do you think the doctor would be able to reply effectively? The true answer, "I cause you trouble and go against your desires in order to help you," would cause an uproar among the voters, don't you think? We have forgotten all about Socrates' salient warnings against democracy. We have preferred to think of democracy as an unambiguous good rather than as something that is only ever as effective as the education system that surrounds it. As a result, we have elected many sweet shop owners and very few doctors.
What it entails. What a lot of Americans been doing, who've been voting ignorantly, they only do surface level, and then you have the media for or whoever's controlling it. They then put out a profile, and they going at folks back to back, like right now, because Elon Musk has been helping Trump. Now all of a sudden he's getting bad press on his Tesla truck. Now every other day, it's somebody had an accident and it caught on fire and they died. They're trying to make it look like it's Elon's truck, but they're saying that it's electrical, but it also has a manual handle that you can use to open the door. and they didn't use that, and so they died. I just seen something on the news earlier.
Oh, really?
Another accident with his truck. I think last week, I seen something where they want certain. far as getting people that's coming out that wants to harm one of the other parties. All right. Right. And
Bluetooth mode.
Election interference.
Absolutely. We've been saying this for a long time. We've been warning the public. Trying to inform people, not being biased. We weren't using our emotions. We did our research.
But it's not just us. I'm just speaking on a bigger level. The media, entertainers, and even the regular, none of that stuff, people shouldn't be allowed for the sake of
to interfere.
To interfere. No stars.
Well, did you not see? Sorry to cut you. Did you not see that even our politicians were getting involved?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Kamala Harris.
But this has been a problem before that. I'm speaking in general. Like if when you look at it, like I said, it's like you trying to get a bunch of people for jury duty to judge a person that's going to court, and they always try to get people in there that has no influence or heard or nothing in the media. You can never have, just off a personal opinion, you're going to be biased because entertainers is coming out. It ain't just the politicians.
Yes.
Entertainers can come out. Somebody like who that was that said something against Trump?
Taylor Swift?
No, it was a guy. He was he played
Robert De Niro?
Yeah, Robert De Niro. People like that coming out and saying things. That's
election interfering.
That's pre-election interference on both sides.
Absolutely.
All of that is incorrect and wrong, and you're tainting the jury because you got people that are influential, and all of that shouldn't be allowed.
Yes.
It simply creates people what you see outside. Oh, don't vote for Kamala because of this, that, and the third. Some of this stuff is true. Don't vote for Trump because some of this is true. But but like I said, when people were saying something was wrong with the election, other people on the other side that's anti-Republican, whatever, now was saying the same thing. Oh, it's rigged. We need they're not going as far as the MAGA people and all of that other stuff that went with that. But we still see, and people ask all the time, how Kamala lost for a myriad of reasons. And one,
I just wanted to add, I wanted to make clear what I was saying about another interference. I want to go back to Robert De Niro. Sorry to cut you off. Did you know that the UK sent people from England to America to canvass for Kamala Harris?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Right, okay. Now, also, so I will have a chat about that later. But Robert De Niro, the problem what I had about people during the election, they spent all their time speaking about Trump. They never spoke about Kamala Harris.
From morning till night. He lived in a shack, in a hut. He wore cast-off clothes. And he hated his master. I say he hated his master. He was intelligent. That house Negro loved his master. But that field Negro, remember, they were in the majority. And they hated his master.
Not wasting your time with dropshipping, forex, crypto, or SMMA. Artificial intelligence.
When the house caught on fire, he didn't try and put it out. That field Negro prayed for a wind. For a breeze.
We talk about carbon emissions, getting people to go away from fossil fuels and gasoline. All that stuff is all that was talking about in Agenda 20, all the way back to the Club of Rome, which they did a 2-year study in 1968 to 1970, and they had a whole list. And this, again, the Club of Rome is part of the 300 Committee, and the Rothschilds and all these different Illuminati families that will cover Rome come out of that, the Tavistock Institute, all of that. It's all in there, right? And they looked at the world's resources, and they said, by the year 2000 or whatever, we're going to be depleted. And they said, we need to get rid of all of this. And guess how they had to come up with that plan? Part of the other plan is what? To stop the usage of all these resources. You can't stop you can stop the use of resources 2 ways.
Right.
Stop all of the companies that are creating that, or you get rid of the population, because that's what they started doing. They passed they passed certain restrictions and certain stuff for these companies from other countries and all that. But the main thing they was like, oh, we need to get rid of the population and kill all the cows because the cows eating all the grass and then they farting and then the methane going in the atmosphere. This is real documented scientific evidence. They were saying they want to kill a bunch of different species. Carl Schwab and the rest of them want the whole world to eat bugs instead of other things. All this is a part of the Green New Deal. When you go into it, it talks about all of that. And that's where Kamala was behind the Green documented scientific evidence. They were saying they want to kill a bunch of different species. Carl Schwab and the rest of them want the whole world to eat bugs instead of other things. All this is a part of the Green New Deal. When you go into it, it talks about all of that.
Shut up and go and slap your face. I ain't leaving. I'll wear a $15,000 Rolex. You get on Space Mountain. You'll be like this. And now, you and I are a limousine ride. Jet fly. Chris Steelers. What are you dealing? Son of a gun. Who are you?
That's where Kamala was behind the Green New Deal. All that stuff started. When I talked about Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, and I was trying to tell Victor that he didn't want to hear it. Biden was a part of that agenda. Biden had something called 30 for 30. That means 21, Agenda 2030. And I was trying to tell Victor that he didn't want to hear it. Biden was a part of that agenda. Biden had something called 30 for 30. That means they were trying to get 30% of the American. Biden was a part of that agenda. Biden has some called 30 for 30. It talks about all of that. And that's where Kamala was behind the Green New Deal. All that stuff started. When I talked about Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, and I was trying to tell Victor that he didn't want to hear it. Biden was a part of that agenda. Biden had something called 30 for 30. That means they were trying to get 30% of the America's land and give it to the feds and have it into the government by the year 2030. All that's a part of Agenda 21.
Oh yeah,
all of that. It's not that difficult. But this is the issue when you're having conversations with ignorance, because these people are ignorant, or they working for them same globalist people that they pop in different places amongst the world, and then they have same individuals keep repeating, oh, that's not true. Oh, that's a conspiracy theorist. That's not. And then they're telling you this as if we're in the internet. They're talking to you as if this is 1984 and nobody can go and look this stuff up unless you go to the library and all that. No, Negroes, you can go right online and type this stuff up and check it right then. It's right there. That's the thing. Let me see if I can pull this real quick, because the sad thing is that we like I said, when you
also, can you read the chat as well? There's some requests in the chat for you.
Yeah, I seen it. I'm gonna
do that one.
They were not critical reasoners. They're not critical thinkers. They only was cyclops. You hate the man, but you ain't hating the other people in his race that's doing the things y'all saying is one man doing them. They were not critical reasoners. They're not critical thinkers. They only was cyclops. You hate the man, race that's doing the things y'all.
Due to political fiction, and a man gone in a different segregation. Due to political fiction, due to political fiction, and a man gone in a different segregation. You can't go uptown, they say you can't go downtown. If you sleep outside, the blood will run underground. But due to political fiction, Lord, due to political fiction.
About what Clinton did to bring that in. It is a product of the Earth Summit. See, the word Earth is what the word for what world? You can put, if you want to find who the Illuminati is or the globalists, all you got to do is look for people that talk about their organizations is always got the word world in it or something dealing with the world. The United Nations emblem is the whole planet. You have
Show it.
Right.
What,
You have,
yeah.
right. You got the world.
Yeah, the blue one.
Right. You got United Nations. That's worldwide. You got the World Economic Forum. Come on. The word world is in their name when you're talking about domination of the planet. They don't think that people exist like that. They think that folks that exist in the world are not trying to take over. When you talk about all these different families, they don't hear that. That doesn't register. Right? They don't think there's a bunch of small. They'll talk about the one. When you talk about the 1%, that's who you're talking about. When you keep talking about the 1% own all this and own all that, that's them trying to take over the world.
That's right.
But because they're ignoramuses, that's why they can't look at it. Now look what this says right here, right? This is what Victor always kept saying, which is dumb, right? It's obvious. Own all this and own all that. That's them trying to take over the world.
That's right.
But because they're ignoramuses, that's why they can't look at it. Now look what this says right here, right? This is what Victor always kept saying, which is dumb. Own all this and own all that. That's them trying to take over the world.
That's right.
But because they're ignoramuses, that's why they can't look at it. Now look what this says right here. Right? This is what Victor always kept saying, which is dumb. Right? It's obvious a lot. Agenda 20 is a non-binding action plan of the United Nations with regard to sustainable development. You don't know that about what Clinton did to bring that in. It is a product of the Earth Summit. See, the word Earth is what the word for what world? You can put that there. You can put World Summit. You can put global. Dumb. Right? It's obvious a lot. Agenda 20 is a non-binding action plan of the United Nations with regard to sustainable development. You don't know that about what Clinton did to bring that in. It is a product of the Earth Summit. See, the word Earth is what the word for what world? You can put that there. You can put World Summit. You can put Globalism Summit. You can put the New World Order Summit. See?
Yeah.
And then look, let's go down. The Wildlands Project and what? Biodiversity Treaty, Agenda 21. When we just left what Biden was talking about, it said what? 30 for 30, and he had the word biodiversity. And that means you're trying to take over 30% of the land of America and 30% of the oceans. That means other groups of individuals who don't live here is behind that because it's all connected. 30 for 30, and he had the word biodiversity. And that means you're trying to take over 30% of the land of America and 30% of the oceans. That means other groups of individuals who don't live here is behind that because it's all connected.
That's all documented stuff, man.
This is all documented stuff. It's in the book right here, Agenda 21. But when I was asking these individuals,
Between you and me, us, the one who talk right down to earth in a language that everybody here can easily understand. We all agree tonight, all of the speakers have agreed that America has a very serious problem. Not only does America have a very serious problem, but our people have a very serious problem. America's problem is us. We're her problem. The only reason she has a problem is she doesn't want us here. And every
get yourself, be you black, brown, red, or yellow, a so-called Negro. You represent a person who poses such a serious problem for America because you're not one. Once you face this as a fact, then you can start plotting a course that will make you appear intelligent instead of unintelligent. What you and I need to do is learn to forget our differences. When we come together, we don't come together as Baptists or Methodists. You don't catch hell because you're a Baptist, and you don't catch hell because you're a Methodist. You don't catch hell because you're a Methodist or a Baptist. You don't catch hell because you're a Democrat or a Republican. You don't catch hell because you're a Mason or an Elk. And you sure don't catch hell because you're an American, because if you was an American, you wouldn't catch no hell. You catch hell because you're a black man. You catch hell, all of us catch hell for the same reason. So we are all black people, so-called Negroes, second-class citizens, ex-slaves. You're nothing but an ex-slave. You don't like to be told that. But what else are you? You are ex-slave. You didn't come here on the Mayflower. You came here in a slave ship, in chains, like a horse or a cow or a chicken. And you were brought here by the people who came here on the Mayflower. You were brought here by the so-called pilgrims or founding fathers. They were the ones who brought you here. We have a common enemy. We have this in common. We have a common oppressor, a common exploiter, and a common discriminator. So once we all realize that we have this common enemy, then we unite on the basis of what we have in common. And what we have foremost in common is that enemy, the white man. He's an enemy to all of us. I know some of you all think that some of them aren't enemies. Time will tell. In Bandung, back in I think 1954, was the first unity meeting in centuries of black people. And once you study what happened at the Bandung Conference and the results of the Bandung Conference, it actually serves as a model for the same procedure you and I can use to get our problem solved. At Bandung, all the nations came together. They were dark nations from Africa and Asia. Some of them were Buddhists. Some of them were Muslim. Some of them were Christian. Some of them were Confucianists. Some were atheists. Despite their religious differences, they came together. Some were communists. Some were socialists. Some were capitalists. Despite their economic and political differences, they came together. All of them were black, brown, red, or yellow. The number one thing that was not allowed to attend the Bandung Conference was the white man. He couldn't come. Once they excluded the white man, they found that they could get together. Once they kept him out, everybody else fell right in and fell in line. This is the thing that you and I have to understand. And these people who came together didn't have nuclear weapons. They didn't have jet planes. They didn't have all of the heavy armaments that the white man has. But they had unity. They were able to submerge their little petty differences and agree on one thing. That though one African came from Kenya and was being colonized by the Englishmen, and another African came from the Congo and was being colonized by the Belgian, and another African came from Guinea and was being colonized by the French, and another came from Angola and was being colonized by the Portuguese. When they came to the Bandung Conference, they looked at the Portuguese, and at the Frenchmen, and at the Englishmen, and at the other Dutchmen, and learn or realize that the one thing that all of them had in common, they were all from Europe. They were all Europeans, blonde, blue-eyed, and white skin. They began to recognize who their enemy was. The same man that was colonizing our people in Kenya was colonizing our people in the Congo. The same one in the Congo was colonizing our people in South Africa, and in southern Rhodesia, and in Burma, and in India, and in Afghanistan, and in Pakistan. They realized all over the world where a dark man was being oppressed, he was being oppressed by the white man. Where the dark man was being exploited, he was being exploited by the white man. So they got together under this basis that they had a common enemy. And when you and I here in Detroit and in Michigan and in America, who have been awakened today, look around us, we too realize here in America, themselves. Go into a huddle. Don't let the enemy know that you got a disagreement. Instead of us airing our differences in public, we have to realize we're all the same family. And when you have a family squabble, you don't get out on the sidewalk. If you do, everybody calls you uncouth, unrefined, uncivilized, savage. If you don't make it at home, you settle it at home. You get in the closet, argue it out behind closed doors. And then when you come out on the street, you pose a common front, a united front. And this is what we need to do in the community and in the city and in the state. We need to stop airing our differences in front of the white man. Put the white man out of our meetings, number one, and then sit down and talk shop with each other.
Did you ever read it? No, they did. Look right down here. Agenda 21 population control map for USA. I sent Vic the mad videos.
It's a Kamala syndrome. You have a lot of people like Kamala.
This is why Kamala did not want to talk about what her policies and what her policies were. Huh? To cause you gonna have to ride a train. All this stuff is there. That's the policy. If she told the public that, she would have never. She really wouldn't have got it. She really wouldn't have got as far as she did with that. What they did was that was why she could never tell you what her policy. Because she said, "Well, we want to talk about climate change." She did speak about that here and there, but climate change comes out of by the United Nations and Agenda 21 and biodiversity and sustainable development goals, and all that stuff about climate change is in the 17 goals of the sustainable development goals, which is pushed by the United Nations. So you hear them talk heat and sheep and getting rid of the gases, and we need to go into windmills and turbines. All that's in Agenda 21, all of it.
And which also affects the people of the country. People lose their jobs. People lose their...
How the government underbiting them in the United Nations and them now. It's not... They are working for them. They was attacking the Amish. The federal government didn't want the Amish using clean milk that they was making themselves from their animals. I had a video of them over there making them throw out all of that milk that was money. They was attacking the Amish so bad that the Amish voted. Because the Amish didn't know.
They must have voted for Trump.
Right, they went for Trump because Elon Musk provided bus rides to take them from there to the voting thing because of what the government is still doing. If you follow, you're right. I had a lot of those shows on my page. If you look, I had all that stuff. They helped Trump win because what they didn't realize, what human beings need, no matter where you are in the world: food, shelter, clothing, protection.
The third generation of silicone dentures imported from the United States. With its concealed style, obvious correction effect, and no need for tooth extraction.
They just want to be left alone and to do what they do well. And thus, Donald Trump has become their defender almost by default.
45th and soon to be 47th President Donald J. Trump! I'm about an hour's drive away from that rally here in one of Pennsylvania's old Amish Anabaptist communities. These people don't like microphones, they don't like cameras. They want to live simple, very traditional lives, untouched by passing fashions and certainly the flashiness and naked ambition of US politics. And it's that commitment to that deeply conservative lifestyle, those very basic values, that's led some Republicans to want to recruit supporters from among this community. And they're trying.
There are about 92,000 Amish in Pennsylvania now. They came to Pennsylvania in the 1700s to escape religious persecution in Europe, where they were being tortured and killed and hounded for refusing to engage in military service. And William Penn and the men around him offered them essentially sanctuary, where they would be and promised them that they would be treated forever with respect, that forever their religious liberties would be respected in Pennsylvania. And so they gave up everything and came here for that chance. And unfortunately, in more recent years, Pennsylvania is breaking that promise to the Amish. I don't have official statistics, but I can tell you that I know many members of this community. I work very closely with them. And absolutely, there is a significant increase in the number of them who are willing to vote this year for the first time ever. And I can tell you there are many who are going to be voting for the first time and voting Republican.
The original goal or objective wasn't to recruit the Amish to support President Trump. I was simply trying to defend them. But it became increasingly clear that the only way to achieve their legal defense rights was to have some political change.
Robert Barnes, you are a lawyer, a litigator, and an activist, and you are reaching out to the Amish community to try to bring in their votes for Donald Trump. It's a matter of principle for you, I gather, but it's also about business. Tell me, how do you reach out to the Amish and sell the case of the person of Donald Trump?
Well, fundamentally, it's because they're getting constantly harassed by both the Democratic administration, the Biden-Harris administration, and by Governor Shapiro, Democratic governor of Pennsylvania. So one of the more prominent Amish farmers is Amos Miller.
A Lancaster County farmer was once again in court for violating food safety laws by selling raw milk without a permit.
The Amish farmer was forced to stop selling raw milk in January after 2 E. coli cases from New York and Michigan.
They interpret the raw milk permit as forfeiting your right to make yogurt, to make kefir, to make butter, to make cream. And as we speak, the state of Pennsylvania is trying to put him out of business and prohibit him from distributing food products to his customers who want his products. They're also harassing the Amish in a bunch of other ways, going after how they handle dogs, how they handle animals, how they do carpentry, how they handle workers' compensation, how they handle insurance issues. I mean, it's just been a barrage of harassment for the last 4 years. So I don't have to do much. I just have to say, look, the reason why they're doing it is because you're not politically active. Once you're politically active, maybe they'll stop harassing you and will actually keep the promise the state of Pennsylvania made to them when they first came there, which is that they would protect their way of life and their beliefs and not harass them because of their beliefs.
It's a damn shame. And I'm the only one that talks about it because everyone's afraid to damn talk about it. And then they accuse you of being a conspiracy theorist. These are conspiracy, and they want to lock you up. They want to put you in jail. The ones that should be locked up are the ones that cheat on these horrible elections that we go through in our country.
So for you, is this a question of defending the rights of individuals against the power of the state? Is it about recruiting voters for Donald Trump? There are only, 80,000 Amish. It's not a very powerful voting bloc, or is it a bit of both?
It's a combination, because with the Amish, you have about 80,000 voters that could make the difference in a state like Pennsylvania that's very close. But there's about another 250,000 people who depend upon the Amish for their own economic well-being and way of life. And they're all negatively and adversely impacted. And then you have the millions of people who benefit from Amish food, who benefit from Amish carpentry, and who want to be able to continue to benefit from it. So the impact on the Amish ends up radiating out in this broad way. And the original goal or objective wasn't to recruit the Amish to support President Trump. I was simply trying to defend them. But it became increasingly clear that the only way to achieve their legal defense rights was to have some political change and for them to have more political capital, because they were looked at as people who wouldn't participate in the system, so they could be run over. And that needed to change, and they understood that needed to change as more and more of them faced harassment that they've never seen in their lifetimes or in their parents' lifetimes.
And when I think of the Amish community, I think of people who are very unmaterialistic. And I see Donald Trump, the guy who goes up and down in a golden elevator. He flies in a private jet stuffed full of luxuries. He's proud of his extreme wealth. It sounds about as far from the Amish as I could possibly imagine. And what on earth can they have in common?
Just someone who will defend their rights. That's really all they care about. They just want to be left alone and to do what they do well. They're great farmers. They're stewards of the land. They live outside of the sort of what I call the Bill Gates dystopian control grid. They are outside of big tech. They're outside of big pharma. They're outside of big food. They're outside of big media. And increasingly, the Democratic Party, if you look at who the top donors are, for example, the Harris campaign, it's big tech,